Thank you for having me.
I want to ask you, we had Daniel Radcliffe here.
In a world where fame often consumes the soul, one young girl grew up beneath the blinding lights. Yet somehow, she never lost herself. Before she became a global voice for equality, before the red carpets and the speeches at the United Nations, she was known simply as Hermione Granger, the clever witch who taught an entire generation that knowledge is power. But what happens when the magic fades, and the world expects you to stay the same girl forever? For Emma Watson, the answer was simple. You grow, you fight, you transform. From a quiet childhood in England to the roaring sets of Harry Potter, she lived the dreams of millions, yet faced the loneliness of being defined by one role. And when the cameras turned away, she discovered something greater than fame itself: a purpose. How did Emma Watson rise from a child star trapped in fantasy to a woman who used her voice to challenge the real world? This is her story of fame, courage, and the kind of magic that can't be cast with a wand. Emma Charlotte Duer Watson was born on April 15, 1990, in Paris, France, to two British lawyers, Chris and Jacqueline Watson. Her early years were filled with books, laughter, and the elegant rhythm of French life. But when her parents divorced, everything changed. Emma was only 5. The fairy tales she once loved suddenly felt a little too real. She moved with her mother and younger brother Alex to Oxfordshire, England, a quiet countryside that became her refuge. There, Emma found her sanctuary in stories. She devoured every book she could find, escaping into worlds where courage and intelligence always triumphed. Her teachers remember a girl who was fiercely determined, competitive, and curious about everything. Even at age 6, she dreamed not just of being famous, but of being good at something. She joined her school's drama club, performing small plays, reciting Shakespeare, and astonishing adults with her confidence. At home, her mother nurtured her imagination. "She always believed I could do anything," Emma once said. That belief would become the spark that ignited a remarkable journey. Little did anyone know, that shy, book-loving girl from Oxfordshire was about to step into a world where imagination became reality, and childhood dreams turned into destiny. Emma's path to stardom began not in Hollywood, but in a modest school auditorium in Oxford. At just 9 years old, she stood on stage, reciting lines from Arthur, "The Young Years." Her teachers were stunned. There was something magnetic about her voice, her precision, her intensity. Then fate came calling. When casting began for Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, thousands of children across Britain auditioned. Producers searched for months, until a school drama teacher recommended a bright, determined girl named Emma Watson. She auditioned 8 times. Each time she grew more confident, more Hermione. When J.K. Rowling met her, she famously said, "She was Hermione." In 2001, at just 11 years old, Emma appeared on screen for the first time, a wild-haired, brilliant young witch who stole every scene she entered. Her energy was electric, her wit was effortless, and audiences around the world instantly connected with her. Overnight, Emma Watson became a household name. Posters covered bedroom walls. Children mimicked her lines. She had become the face of intelligence, bravery, and friendship for an entire generation. But behind the smiles and premiere lights, a quiet question lingered. How does a child handle the weight of global fame before even becoming a teenager? For Emma, the answer would define the next decade of her life. A decade lived not in childhood, but in front of the world's eyes. For the next 10 years, Emma Watson grew up not in classrooms or playgrounds, but on film sets, under the eyes of millions. From Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets to the Deathly Hallows, she became a symbol of intelligence, loyalty, and quiet strength. The transformation was breathtaking. Audiences watched Hermione Granger mature from an earnest girl into a young woman, and so did Emma. With every premiere, every interview, her poise deepened, her confidence sharpened. But behind the glamour, there was discipline, grueling filming schedules, endless media scrutiny, and the constant struggle to balance education with superstardom. While her co-stars chased fame, Emma dreamed of something simpler: normalcy. She once said, "I've been Hermione for so long that I don't know who Emma is anymore." Still, her performances shone with authenticity. She earned critical acclaim, countless awards, and a place among the highest-paid actresses of her generation. When the Harry Potter saga ended in 2011, the world mourned the end of an era, and Emma faced the most daunting question of all. What happens after the magic ends? Determined not to be trapped by her own success, she took bold steps beyond the wizarding world. She pursued a degree at Brown University, studied literature, and explored acting in films like The Perks of Being a Wallflower, The Bling Ring, and Beauty and the Beast. Each role marked a quiet rebellion, proof that she was not just Hermione Granger, but Emma Watson, actress, scholar, and visionary. Yet, as she redefined her career, another transformation was beginning, one that would take her far beyond the walls of Hollywood. Fame, as dazzling as it seems, casts long shadows. For Emma Watson, growing up under the constant flash of cameras meant never truly being alone. Every smile was analyzed, every outfit criticized, every word dissected by tabloids hungry for stories. As a teenager, she faced a crisis few could understand: the loss of privacy, the pressure of perfection. She once admitted, "I felt caged. Everyone knew my name, but no one really knew me." When paparazzi chased her to classrooms and parties, she withdrew from the spotlight. She took a step that few child stars ever do. She walked away. In 2009, she enrolled at Brown University in the United States, determined to find her identity outside the world of magic and movie sets. But even then, the media followed. Rumors about arrogance, isolation, even fabricated rivalries filled the headlines. The public expected Hermione Granger, not the quiet, thoughtful woman she was becoming. At the same time, Emma began questioning her role in the world. Could she use her fame for something more meaningful? The turning point came in 2014, when she stood before the United Nations to deliver her now famous HeForShe speech, calling for gender equality and solidarity. The backlash was immediate. Critics accused her of hypocrisy. Others mocked her youth. But through the noise, Emma remained calm. For the first time, she wasn't hiding from the spotlight. She was using it, not to act, but to make a difference. After years of chasing normalcy, Emma Watson found something far more powerful: purpose. Her speech at the United Nations in 2014 didn't just echo across the hall. It resonated around the world. With calm confidence, she declared, "If not me, who? If not now, when?" A moment that redefined her forever. She was no longer just a former child star. She had become a voice for women, for equality, for change. In the years that followed, Emma devoted herself to activism. As a UN Women Goodwill Ambassador, she traveled across continents, promoting gender equality and empowering young women to claim their space in society. She launched the HeForShe movement, encouraging men to stand as allies rather than opponents. Off-screen, she embraced a minimalist, ethical lifestyle. She studied sustainable fashion, partnered with brands like Kering, and advocated for environmentally responsible design. For her, feminism was not just about speeches. It was a way of living consciously, compassionately, and courageously. Emma also began choosing projects that reflected her values. Films like Little Women showed her as more than an actress, as a storyteller who believed in women's agency and truth. Her transformation wasn't loud. It was steady, grounded, and profoundly human. Emma Watson had grown beyond fame. She had become a symbol of modern empowerment, a reminder that strength doesn't always shout. Sometimes it simply stands firm. Today, Emma Watson stands not just as an actress, but as a symbol of intellect, integrity, and inner strength. Her journey from the halls of Hogwarts to the stage of the United Nations is more than a tale of fame. It's a story of evolution, courage, and authenticity. She showed the world that you can grow up in the spotlight and still find your own voice. That beauty and brains can coexist. That compassion can be louder than celebrity. Her influence reaches far beyond cinema. In classrooms, young girls quote her speeches, In boardrooms, women cite her courage. And in every corner of the internet, her story reminds us that greatness isn't measured by awards, but by impact. Emma Watson's journey is proof that magic doesn't come from wands or spells. It comes from the conviction to change the world, one act of courage at a time. If her story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because every star has a story, and every story has a lesson worth telling.